Today is Monday, September 14th, 2020, and today I'm thinking about belief, faith, and fasting. Matthew chapter 17, verses 14 through 21. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed, for ofttimes he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart, and said, Why could not we cast him out? And Jesus said unto them, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. And so mostly these bottom two verses, just the importance of belief. And I think that Jesus often points to how, so I get reminded of how Jesus talks about John the Baptist, and then talks about how even the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than John the Baptist here. And just this statement too here, talking about if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, just the smallest bit of faith is enough to move mountains just because you want it to. And I think that Jesus is just showing us how different it's going to be and what we really do have inside of ourselves. And we're just not there yet. And also the second verse, verse 21 is really interesting. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. This is a verse that gets deleted in the NIV, the non-inspired version. Just completely removes this verse. And if you read the very last page of your Bible, the last chapter of the Bible, it gives punishments for people removing things and adding things to the Bible. And certainly the NIV, if you look up anything in the Bible, Google or whatever search engine you're using will almost always shove the NIV version in your face, and they want you to read this. And it's because this is the satanic, corrupted version of the Bible. It's not even really worth calling it a version of the Bible. Nobody should be reading the NIV. I went to try to compare the Bible verses in all the translations, and look, they don't even want to show you. They don't even want to show 21. Even though it exists in KJV and others. It's just there are particular versions of the Bible that are way worse, and NIV is one of those. That it's like the entire NIV was carefully crafted to subvert the gospel and to change the language in a way so that people can preach a false gospel. And the KJV is beautiful. It's not that hard to read. They force children to read Shakespeare over and over and over again in school, and KJV is way more readable than any of that. Here's few verses. Matthew chapter 21, verses 18 through 22. Now in the morning, as he returned into the city, he hungered. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon, but leaves only, and said unto it, Let no fruit grow on thee henceforth forever. And presently the fig tree withered away. And when the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How soon is the fig tree withered away? Jesus answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith, and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. I just find a few interesting things about this. One is, Jesus could have easily taken this fig tree and made it produce a bunch of figs and then eaten them. But what Jesus did is he saw this tree that was bearing no fruit and instantly made it wither away. I think that that's an important thing to notice. Jesus took a tree bearing no fruit and made it wither away. He didn't turn this tree that was bearing no fruit into... He could have made it bear a bunch of fruit if he wanted to, but he didn't. The tree that bore no fruit, he withered away. So I think that's really interesting. And here, just the multiple instances of talking about belief. If ye have faith and doubt not. And then here in 22, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. And that is what faith is, really. It's belief. And belief without, I don't know, what people claim is evidence these days is ridiculous. What's evidence to one person isn't evidence to another person. I can make 100 videos on a topic and people will come out of the woodwork saying, you haven't provided any proof. Well, to you, maybe. You know, we all have different levels of belief and different levels of, what qualifies as evidence to make people believe. But belief is so important, and belief is tied in with this idea of power, your prayers being answered. I think of the flip side. Dark magic. Think of like dark magic as the opposite of prayer and being able to do things through praying and asking God to do them for you. That's like good magic, for lack of a better word. And then the flip side of that is the evil magic. The whole point of people that try to do evil magic is they have to believe. You have to believe. That's a core part of trying to do any sort of magic for these people. They have to believe. And it's the type of magic that we cast on ourselves. If you didn't ever believe in NASA Outer Space Fantasyland, you would never be scared of a meteor hitting you or of a black hole appearing out of nowhere. All of that stuff, you're casting spells on yourself when you decide to believe. And the power of belief. I often think of how the whole point of basically any Christmas story, and of course Santa, Satan, but the whole point of any Christmas story is how people don't believe, and then Santa loses all his magic power, and then people start believing, and then Santa gets all his power back. And they're talking about this idea. You must believe. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this, really. I guess I'll just talk a little bit more about the fasting thing. Because fasting, I don't think it's just food. You can fast about anything, just anything that is flesh, anything of the flesh that you see yourself going to over and over again, that you can just remove from your life. It helps us stay present with God. It's just an equally important tool, just like prayer, that we need to be using to increase our belief, increase our faith power, however you want to think of it. And yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. Interested to see what you guys have to say about this, the whole idea of belief, and with respect to power, what, for lack of a better word, again, like magic power. We are going to have the ability to heal people, to move mountains. And all that we have to do is believe. We have to have enough faith power in order to do that. God bless everyone.